miracle of Jesus' birth is of such great magnitude that it completely dwarfs and overshadows the many miracles contained within the story. We start with Elizabeth and Zechariah receiving the news that they'll have a son in their old age. Then Mary, an ordinary teenager from an ordinary family, has a visit from an angel and incredible news. Next, Joseph has a divine dream instructing him to go ahead with his prior plans to get married to Mary. Then there's the birth. I don't know about you, but I think any time a baby is born with all of its parts in all the right places, that is a miracle. And then add to that, this baby is the Son of God. Next up on our list of miracles, God chooses an unlikely group of social outcasts to be the first to receive the news of Jesus' birth and sends the announcement to the shepherds via an angel choir. Now, in today's reading, we have a plethora of additional miracles. Jewish religious customs dictated that a woman and child must be ceremoniously purified 40 days after the birth. Any event which allowed body fluids to escape, or any time a person came in contact with any body fluids, they were considered ritually unclean and unable to participate in worship or public life. Birth causes all kinds of fluids to leak out, and newborn babies are a mess. Our reading finds Mary and Joseph and baby Jesus at the temple for this very important process, which allows the family to become a part of the faith community, purified and ready for interaction with others. As soon as they arrive at the temple, before they can complete the procedures dictated by Jewish law, they have a couple of very interesting encounters. I think Simeon must have been part of the United Church of Christ. He was listening for the still speaking voice of God. He had heard God's voice telling him he wouldn't die until he had seen the Messiah. In our reading, he received another miraculous message: go to the temple. Once there, he miraculously recognized the hope of Israel in the face of a teeny, tiny, 40-day-old baby being brought by a very ordinary couple for the purification rituals. Simeon gave Mary and Joseph some amazing messages about their precious little bundle of joy and hope. And our miraculous events don't stop with Simeon. Next up is Anna, an 87-year-old woman who has devoted almost her entire life to prayer in the temple. She too looks at the baby boy and sees the answer to her life's prayer, her Messiah. She is so sure of what she has seen that she tells everyone who will listen. Anna becomes the first person to preach the good news that Emmanuel has arrived. Anna, an 87-year-old widow, a woman with no place in society, became the first Christian preacher. Mary and Joseph finished their ritual duties and headed back to life in Nazareth, where they watched their boy grow, gain strength, be filled with wisdom, and blessed with the favor of God. Miracle upon miracle, all wrapped up in a neat little package called Christmas. A gift we open year after year to gently explore, then carefully pack back away until next year. There's been a lot of talk in the past couple of years about keeping Christ in Christmas. Christians have been up in arms about the perceived threat that somehow someone is going to strip the meaning from our holiday and turn it into something it's not. Facebook is filled with images calling us to keep Christ in Christmas and images declaring pledges to say Merry Christmas rather than Happy Holidays. While I agree that many have lost sight of the religious meaning of this holiday, I wonder about all this fuss over political correctness. Is it really important that I say Merry Christmas instead of Happy Holidays to everyone? including my Jewish friends and my Muslim or Hindu or non-religious friends? What precisely does it mean to keep Christ in Christmas anyway? I wonder how much of what we include in our traditional observations and celebrations is actually authentically tied to Christ. Is there a standard of behavior that is suitable for all Christians? A rule book for celebrating this holiday? Or are we to follow the advice of Ebenezer Scrooge, who told his nephew to keep Christmas as he sees fit and leave Scrooge free to keep it in his own way? If we're sincere about honoring the birth of Emmanuel, which of our Christmas activities reflect our stated intentions of keeping that focus? And is Christmas even something we should be keeping, as if it's something we own? Or is it a gift we should be continuously giving away? What's the point of keeping Christmas? Or of keeping Christ in Christmas? Wouldn't it be better to dedicate ourselves to letting Jesus out of that box where we store him from January until Thanksgiving, when we bring him out to put him on display again for 6 weeks, until we grow tired of all the fuss, the music carols in the malls, the commercialism and the busyness, and pack him away again until next year? These aren't rhetorical questions. I really want to know, what do you think it means to keep Christ in Christmas? How do we as Christians live up to our family name when we celebrate this extremely significant holy day? Are we doing it? Do we need to do things differently? What does an authentic, Christ-centered Christmas look like? If we were to design a perfect plan for observing Christmas, what would that plan be? When would we start building up to the holiday? When would we call it finished? Should it ever be finished? Or should we celebrate this incredible gift every day, all year? Simeon and Anna spent their lives watching and waiting for Christmas. What about us? Are we watching for signs of the Christ in our midst? The shepherds were taking care of business out in the fields as usual, not anticipating anything, not preparing for Advent at all. Yet Christmas came to them in a very big way. And how about Mary? Was she prepared? I don't know what a typical baby wore 2,000 years ago. Maybe they were all wrapped in strips of cloth. Maybe swaddling clothes were standard issue for newborn infants, and not some makeshift last-minute covering for a baby that arrived in an inconvenient time. So let's spend a few minutes right now brainstorming on this first Sunday of Christmas. What do you think an authentic, Christ-centered Christmas should be? John?
I think we celebrated it in part with coming to the Christmas Eve service.
Okay, so sharing the story again and singing the songs that also tell the story, coming together as a faith community. I heard a grumble this morning that Christmas music is overdone and time to be put away. What about the rest of you? When should we start listening to it? When should we stop listening to it?
We always start listening to it the day after Thanksgiving, and I don't put my Christmas decorations away until after New Year's, and sometimes even later than that. But I think that Christmas should be loving people as Christ did throughout the year. To me, that's the heart of Christmas.
Did you hear that? Karen says she thinks Christmas should be loving people as Christ did throughout the year, that that's the heart of Christmas. I have a beautiful nativity set at home. It was a gift from my mom. It's gorgeous. And one year, I got stubborn, and I decided I wasn't going to put baby Jesus back in the box and put him in the closet. and I left my nativity set out. And people would come over and they would say, Lori, it's the end of January. Why do you have Christmas decorations in your house? And I said, what makes it a Christmas decoration? And they said, well, it's a nativity scene. And I said, okay, are you going to put my baby Jesus in a box? Well, no. Okay. Lori, it's Valentine's Day. Why is this still out? It's the middle of March. When are you going to put this thing away? Okay, now it's Easter. Are you done yet? And I finally decided about the end of April that year that it was okay to go ahead and put it back away. But I wonder, was it? Or should that have stayed out? Should that be as important an ornament, a decoration in my house as any other knick-knack or painting or plant or anything else I use to make my home comfortable? Or does packing it away and then getting it out again make me be more conscious of it and more aware and thinking?
We have the empty cross from the risen Lord that we keep in our houses very long, and that's an indication of Easter.
Right.
And yet why the birth of Christ needs to be seasonal.
Right.
That is interesting.
It is. I was hoping Dan McEwen would be here today because before church I read a Facebook post he made. I'm going to share it with you. It's an interesting observation. Why are Christian churches in the United States not lit up with Christmas lights on the exterior? Instead, exterior lights are reserved for single-family homes and civic displays. Yet Christmas is supposed to draw community together beyond individual families. Is this a leftover reticence of American churches to embrace the holiday itself, or a sign of Christian congregations being humble in the face of secularism? It seems that if Christians want to promote the birth of the Savior God, there would be more lights on churches in the season. Instead, the season seems to promote an individualistic and consumeristic Christmas spirit, and churches just hope the wider public will remember the religious roots of the holiday, almost like congregations are above the common society and too holy to participate in such a regular tradition. Meanwhile, congregation members go home to brightly lit homes. Thoughts, anyone?